Hello everybody, my name is Sarah and welcome back to Future Zoologist Academy. Today we are exploring a very unusual ocean animal, and while this is an animal that most of us are familiar with, it is certainly an animal that most of us would want to avoid bumping into. Today we're learning all about jellyfish. Let's get into it. Jellyfish are a very large group of animals in the phylum Cnidaria, and Cnidaria also includes animals like sea anemones and corals. And we can find jellyfish in almost every single part of the ocean. We don't usually find them in fresh water, but in the ocean we can find them all the way up near the surface where the water is warm and bright. We can find them all the way down in the deep sea where it is cold and pitch black. There are many animals that are called jellyfish, but are not actually true jellyfish. Some jellies, like the box jelly and the stalked jelly, are called jellyfish and they're related to jellyfish, but they're not true jellyfish. Whereas other animals, like the comb jelly, isn't related to jellyfish at all, even though it looks and acts a lot like a jellyfish. The name jellyfish in and of itself is very misleading because they're not actually a type of fish. True fish are vertebrates. They have a backbone. But jellyfish are invertebrates. They do not have a backbone. True fish are usually covered in scales. Jellyfish do not have scales. The jelly part of their body is called mesoglea, and it's mostly made of water, which is why jellyfish appear mostly see-through. One of the other main differences between a true fish and a jellyfish is that true fish breathe using gills, whereas a jellyfish does not have gills. They absorb oxygen directly into their bodies through their skin. Most jellyfish are poor swimmers. In fact, lots of scientists consider jellyfish to be a type of plankton because where they go largely depends on the ocean's currents. Many species of jellyfish can swim. They swim by gently pulsing their body, and a jellyfish's body has two main parts. The top part of their body is called the bell, and the long stringy things hanging beneath are their tentacles. When they are swimming, they pulse their bell, and that's how they're able to move. Most people are more familiar with the tentacles of a jellyfish because that's the part you don't want to bump into. A jellyfish's tentacles are covered in stinging cells called cnidocytes, and these cnidocytes contain microscopic harpoon-like structures that are filled with venom. They're called nematocysts. When you bump into a jellyfish's tentacles, the nematocysts shoot out with those venom-filled harpoons, and that's why it stings if you bump into a jellyfish's tentacles. Some jellyfish, like the box jellyfish, have a venom that is so potent that they can be deadly to humans. Meanwhile, other jellyfish, their stinging cells are so teeny tiny that they can't even pierce through human skin, so we wouldn't even be able to feel it if we did get stung. Jellyfish use their stinging tentacles to protect themselves from predators and to help them catch their food. Most scientists consider jellyfish to be carnivores because most species of jellyfish are primarily eating meat. Jellyfish are usually feeding on plankton, and we did use that word before to describe any organism that floats around the ocean, going wherever the ocean's current takes them. Most jellyfish species use their stinging tentacles to zap and stun microscopic prey, things like krill and fish eggs and crab larvae, which they then use their tentacles to move up toward their mouth, which is located at the center of the underside of their bell. Some species of jellyfish are considered omnivores because they feed on microscopic algae floating around in the water as well. Now remember we said before that jellyfish themselves are plankton, so they're feeding on all of these tiny organisms as they are floating around in the water as well. There are some jellyfish that are not considered plankton, like the upside down jellyfish who lives upside down, resting on the sea floor. There are other differences as well between jellyfish species other than whether they float around in the water or rest on the sea floor. Jellyfish come in a wide variety of different colors and a wide variety of different sizes. Some of the smallest species of jellyfish measure about 1 millimeter in diameter, so that's their length across, whereas the largest species of jellyfish, like the lion's mane jellyfish, can be more than 6 feet across, with their stinging tentacles sometimes measuring more than 100 feet in length. And whether they're tiny or enormous, most jellyfish have a very unusual life cycle. They go through metamorphosis, which is the word we use when an animal has different phases during their life cycle. Most jellyfish reproduce by spawning, where they release their genetic material, their eggs and their sperm, into the water column all at once. And when a larval jellyfish forms, a baby jellyfish, it either floats down to the seafloor where it continues to develop, or for some species, they continue floating around in the water as plankton. Eventually, they complete their metamorphosis and they enter their adult form, where they look and act more like the jellyfish we are used to seeing. When they're in their adult form, we call them medusa. Once in their medusa phase, jellyfish are predators. We said they use their stinging tentacles to zap small animals to eat. Sometimes their prey includes other jellyfish. So one of the predators for jellyfish is other jellyfish, but they do have other predators as well. Sea anemones, fish, some sharks, and even sea turtles feed on jellyfish. But remember, we said those stinging cells do a really great job protecting them from most other predators. Because there are not many predators that can feed on jellyfish, the predators that they do have are incredibly important. And when scientists notice that there's a part of the ocean where the jellyfish population is growing, we can use that as a key indicator that the fish population has been over-harvested and now the environment is falling out of balance. Even when we try to reintroduce fish into the areas that have been overfished, we don't see much success because the jellyfish are feeding on all the fish eggs and the young developing fish. So while usually at the end of our lessons we're talking about the different ways that we can protect our animal of the day, something we're seeing with jellyfish is that their populations are actually growing. And one of the ways that we can prevent their populations from growing too big is by making sure that the seafood that we're eating, like if you like to eat fish, make sure that the fish you're eating is being caught sustainably. When we overfish a population, we see that jellyfish population rise. So make sure that the fish that you're eating is harvested in a way that is not hurting the ocean population. All right, you guys, thank you so very much for joining me today to learn all about jellyfish. If you'd like to learn even more, do quizzes, activities, projects, be sure to click that link below, and I can't wait to see you at our next lesson. Thank you.